Hey everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is our 332nd episode, being recorded on January 14th, 2015. Is that right?
You're correct.
All right, I'm Ryan Shrout. I'm Ryan.
Jeremy Hellstrom,
That's Jeremy.
still on the 14th.
All right.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Alan Malmanzano.
And this is Alexa. She is the first full-time PC Perspective host. Alexa,
Sure.
stop. Alexa, thank you. Alexa, stop. She listens very well. This is the
like the old days with Colleen.
This is the Amazon Echo that's sitting here with us. If we have any questions during the show, we'll be sure to ask her. She's full of information. Like, Alexa, how many people live in Canada?
The population of Canada is about 35,700,000.
There you go. See, Jeremy, now you've got lots of friends up there and stuff. So it's
true.
It should be pretty good. So Ken is unwinding something. He's giving up his microphone in service of Alexa. So there we go. Now she's mic'd up. Okay. Alexa, stop looking at me like that. We'll have a video of this Amazon Echo up on the site soon as well. We recorded one. Yeah, whatever. You can see what all happens in that video there. Welcome to the PC Perspective.
So why?
Yeah.
Why did you get an Alexa?
I don't know. It was $99. And
It was on sale. I had to buy it.
and it was like it's almost half the price of the normal
Think
people.
how much money I saved by buying this.
Now I can say things like I already demoed all the features that it did, actually. Alexa, play 630 WLAP.
News Radio 630 WLAP from iHeartRadio.
So she plays radio stations for me. You know? The
News
things.
Radio 630
Yeah, no, I got it already.
WLAP on iHeartRadio
She's not
Live
very
is
good at
currently
this.
not available.
Oh. That channel is down. Fantastic. Must be a sporting event on or something. I don't know. It's just this thing you got to buy to see if it works and see if it changes my life. So far, it has changed our podcast, at the very least. I paid less for it than I do for any other person on this podcast.
The office dynamic is a little weird now.
She plays podcasts for me. She gets coffee.
So Ryan took her out for lunch, not you, Al?
Yeah, basically.
That's right. That's right. It was really awkward, though, because she doesn't have a battery. She requires AC connection.
So she wouldn't talk back.
So she was not talking to me at all through lunch.
So
just
she
sat
only
there.
goes one way.
That's right. She does. She does. So we record the show live on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific at pcpro.com/live. However, if you want to join us in the fun, and you're like, man, I keep forgetting to go to pcpro.com/live at the appropriate times, you should go to pcpro.com/subscribe. And if you go there, you said give us your name, your email address, and we will send you emails when we do live events. Now, I can't say too much about it yet, but if you sign up for this form, you will get at least 2 emails next week. One for the PC Perspective podcast on Wednesday at 10 p.m., blah, 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 whatever. And then there will be one for Thursday as well. There will be a live event Thursday that will include many prizes to be given away of the GPU variety. So if you like free things and you don't want to forget about the chance to win free things...
I wonder which type GPU.
Just, the ones that play games.
Oh, just those?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have GPUs that will be given away. We'll have a guest here that will not be Alan. They'll be giving away lots of video cards.
I'll have to give up the chair.
I've been promised a lot of video cards to give away.
Sweet.
So I think that'll be probably in the noon to 1 p.m. Eastern time frame on Thursday. But I'll find out for sure tomorrow, and I'll make sure I put it on the schedule. So you want to sign up for that mailing list at pcpro.com/subscribe if you haven't already. But let's jump into crap that happened. So we didn't have a whole lot of reviews go up on the site this week. It was after CES. There was a slow period. We were all napping profusely throughout the day, especially Josh. I heard he just basically slept through from
winter.
The time he got home. Yeah, through winter.
Till now.
Yeah. First things up, like Maury posted a review of the ECS Z97 machine motherboard. Which ECS, no gank machine, just machine.
Okay.
I I properly don't know the reason, but it does have this odd model numbering here on the heatsink thing here. L337. I don't really get it, guys. Does anybody?
It's so elite of them.
L33. So I don't know what that is. Yeah.
That was our room number the first day of CES.
It was. Yeah, it had one extra one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
I have nothing to say.
Oh, okay, then don't go ahead. So this is a Z97 motherboard. It's a relatively low cost board, $139.
It's pretty cheap.
That's fairly low cost. It's got a pretty good feature set for that. Maury talks about the board has a 6-phase digital power delivery system, high efficient IC chokes, MOSFETs at 90%, Nichicon source aluminum caps for optimal board performance. You know, and you see it does have this VGA port though, which is a little, you know, it's like, you know,
It's weird the PCB is curved in that picture.
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
It is a little.
That is curved.
Yeah, just a wee bit.
It is a little.
Just,
They're all curved.
it's just their picture.
It's okay if they lean a little to the left. Everybody's a little different.
Yeah, I guess.
And also that PS2 port.
VGA port. I mean, okay.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
It also has.
This is after Maury put
I mean, it has-
the 7-pound heatsink on it.
Yeah, that's why. But it has DVI and HDMI there, right? Like, isn't that HDMI
Yes.
in the middle?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's got enough connections.
So it's got, it's like an extra connector.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It is SLI and Crossfire ready. You know, all the same stuff you would expect out of boards, out of a Z97 board at this point in time. If you see you've got 4 USB 2.0 ports on the back. That's okay. You've got a gigabit Ethernet port. It is not. Oh, it is an Intel base. Actually, an Intel i218V gigabit NIC on there, so that's nice. The board layout includes only 2 full-length PCI Express slots, and then 1, 2, 3 by 1 PCIe slots, and that's it. It's kind of a little bit bare bones there, but I think for most people that's all you're going to need, if even that.
Yeah.
And it leaves plenty of room for the full length M.2 slot here, and it kind of doesn't crowd up the board on the bottom if you look at it that way. You've got your power reset, your audio, your LED posts, lights, and that type of stuff there. It's decent. Like, it's okay. It's kind of like an interesting mix between those boards that have too many PCI Express slots and then micro ATX.
I do appreciate that they gave you a gap. So you have the primary PCIe slot, and then there's a gap of 1 slot before they give you the by 1, right?
Yep.
Well,
So
that's
that
where
way-
they put the battery, so yeah.
Well, yes, just for that battery.
Just for more.
But that way, so if you have a dual slot GPU in there, you can
still have access to that
you
by
can actually
one.
plug something in, like whatever.
But you
it is.
cannot access the CMOS battery. Trust me, that's in the list of negatives on the last page.
because you have
for
to
the
remove
board.
the GPU to get to the
the
CMOS
yeah,
battery.
You do.
I think every 10 years, I'm okay doing that.
whatever, man.
You know,
You don't know how Maury lives.
I mean,
He's replacing those batteries on a weekly basis. No risks.
so
No
I just
risks.
recently unwater cooled that case that I have
Yeah.
owned for 8 years.
Right? Yeah, we know.
I have
all
owned a
about it.
case for 8 years.
We know all about
It
it.
has gone through several motherboards
I'm well aware.
and
Not that many.
a couple.
It's 2.
It's gone through a couple
Two,
because it was
that's
water cooling and it involved plumbing and stuff. Not anymore. I unwater cooled it, but
Let's put this here.
anyway. Yeah, no.
It fits large heat sinks. It's a decent board. I would say if you're looking for something that's a little bit lower cost but still has decent feature set, this is definitely a board worth looking at. The ECS Z97 machine. It does not have the what was that little plate that blocked the dust? What was that?
The shield.
Dust shield.
The shield.
Yeah. Actually,
shield?
Amazon, when he wrote this, had it for $111 for that board as well. So, good performance, good overclocking, board layout and design he liked, price is good, but weakness is CMOS battery inaccessible with PCI video card installed. Only 4 SATA 3 ports. That could be
And
an
no
issue.
sex ports.
No SATA Express. Missing -1 S. More dots. So yeah, it's an okay board. It's not a fantastic board, but I think for the price, Maury seemed to like it for what it was. But let's talk about this. How about this? The Corsair Carbide 300R Titanium Edition, which I think really just means, it says cosmetic and functional changes with the addition of a titanium look brushed aluminum front panel and 3-speed fan control switch. So there are a couple of changes there from the first 300R we saw. These are from Corsair, obviously. Very similar to what we know. We've talked about the 300R before. But here is, here's a system build with it. It actually, this is what you do with these types of cases now, right?
Nice,
if you've got one
case.
video card and one SSD and nothing else, essentially, that's super clean looking.
Yep.
That used to be, you can go back 10 years, that shit would win QuakeCon mod contests.
Oh, wait a minute. What motherboard is that?
That's a Sabertooth.
Oh, okay. So that
which looks really funny when it's just a motherboard sitting alone, but you put it in a case, and I went and that actually kind of looks nice.
Yeah, it like camouflages itself in that case.
Yeah.
Right? It looks like just the RAM is just like floating.
Did we show pictures? I guess we didn't show pictures on the other podcasts because we were doing them from CS, but the white camo motherboard that ASUS was showing, which one was that? Was it Z97? Mark S. It was really, really cool looking. Like it had like a white snow camo with white PCB. But the white PCB was mostly covered up by the armor that like the same kind of armor on the Sabertooth, but that armor was painted with like a white camo pattern. I thought that was pretty cool looking. And then the front panel has this titanium finish as well. So those are kind of the primary differences. We don't need to look through the boxes. Let's see. Yeah, that's a nice little touch there. It's it's not real titanium. I hope I don't have to tell anybody that.
No, not at $90.
Yeah, and this is your fan control switch there too. So it's just got a real simple, a 3-stage fan controller there, but a very nice design as well. And how you said it was $90?
Yeah, MSRP is about $100, but it's been seen for $90 or so. And it does have one of your pet peeves that you can see right there, the bottom filter. It's attached with magnets, so you can actually get at it.
You don't have to slide it out.
Particularly accessible.
Okay, that's a plus. I will. Yeah, that's definitely a plus.
Because that was one of the things I looked at and I went, "Oh, rear filter, really on the bottom?"
Yeah.
Didn't they make a song about that? Filter sticks to magnets. No.
I don't catch the reference.
How does that work?
You don't remember lobster sticks to magnets?
Yes.
You get a lobster and you get a magnet. Honestly?
No, honestly.
How long have you been on the internet?
The people we hang out with, Josh.
I have been on the internet for many years.
There's this website called Goatsy.
Oh, yeah.
Will you stop mentioning that somebody's going to look that up and they're going to be pissed at us? And I'm going to give them your address at home.
I hope somebody's still paying for that, Earl.
Oh, I'm sure. It's on Hover for $12 a month. I don't know. But Lee really liked this case. The only weaknesses were, some minor things. No hot swap 3.5-inch hard drive bays. Not really that big a deal. And no side window option, if you happen to like that. But everything else was a plus there. Lots of tool-free additions. Included 140mm intake and 120mm exhaust fans. Pretty nice. And, it was as low as $90. So, pretty nice little setup. We'll have more stories up next week for sure. I'm sure Alan's got lots of stuff cooked up. Josh, you've got lots of stuff cooked up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, lots.
All right. So we didn't do a podcast after the last day at CES because we were flying home.
Yep.
But we got a couple of other things we want to discuss from it. I believe during the week we actually did talk about the ASUS MG279Q monitor.
Yeah. That was the 120 hertz, not G-Sync.
It was 120 hertz, 27-inch IPS, 25 by 14. Not FreeSync, not G-Sync. It was in this weird middle ground of...
So it's a Swift, but it's IPS and not G-Sync.
It's not a Swift. It's not branded as Swift. It actually has a different... But yeah.
But like the ROG Swift, which is that other same panel size display.
Panel size, but this one's IPS even.
Right.
Right. So it's a new panel. It's for ASUS, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's new for them. But it supported DP 1.2a plus, and we thought, chances are this one should support anything that has adaptive sync support like FreeSync. Well, as the week went on, we actually kind of solidified some information here. One is that AMD's Robert Halleck, who we've had on our show several times, we've done game streams with him, did say that AMD will definitely 100% not have a whitelist, blacklist policy for displays, which is what NVIDIA has today with G-Sync. I mean, there's hardware reasons why they have a whitelist or a blacklist.
Yeah.
But they have one. That AMD will not have that for FreeSync, and as long as a monitor adheres to the standards of DisplayPort 1.2a Plus, then they will operate in the variable refresh rate window as defined by the display's EDID. The EDID, Extended Display Information.
So whatever the display tells it can, it'll do. So,
interesting thing then. Well, okay, if this one does support it, then why wouldn't it be a FreeSync monitor? Right?
Okay.
There's apparently going to be a certification process for FreeSync, which also I have been guaranteed will not be for a fee.
Okay.
Right? So ASUS would not be charged money to submit this monitor to be certified.
So then again, why wouldn't they go through the process with this? Seems like the perfect monitor.
I don't know. It's a very legitimate question. I don't know the answer to it.
So can I ask you one question?
You can ask me all the questions.
Did you actually see this monitor?
Yeah.
At CES. Where at?
We went back to the ASUS suite the next day.
So they actually dragged it out of the buyer's hands.
Correct. Yep, we got to see it, and I saw it playing in that picture on the site. It's doing Unigine Heaven at 40-something frames per second. And, yeah, no tearing.
Nice.
So, I mean, it works. It worked.
Yep.
Now, what's interesting is, it's an interesting discussion because now you get the G-Sync versus FreeSync, and why isn't this FreeSync? Could it be a G-Sync monitor? It does not have a G-Sync module in it. Right. But the possibility would be there that if NVIDIA wanted to be like the good guy and could certify this to work with their products.
But I don't think it would give you the same experience.
It wouldn't as a G-Sync monitor. Right. But it would, it would be as good. NVIDIA could make it as good of experience on their hardware as AMD could make it on their hardware.
True.
Right.
But that experience is not as good as a G-Sync, or would not be as
Maybe.
good.
We don't know.
Theoretically.
We had this discussion already. You don't know. I don't know for sure. I think that will be the case too.
Right.
But even then, some is better than none.
Sure.
But NVIDIA is more along the lines of all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be, in their opinion, perfect, or they're not going to do it.
Yep.
Right, and that's how they brand it. That's how they brand G-Sync. That's how they brand SLI. That's how they brand 3D Vision. And you can take that for what you will. 3D Vision's not perfect in all of its implementations, and SLI is not perfect in all of its implementations. Yet they still are the technologies that exist. Now, as for why it's not FreeSync, I don't know if that's more of a hey, look, NVIDIA is a real big partner of ASUS's. They were the first to have G-Sync monitors. They're the first to promote these newer versions of G-Sync monitors. Maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe we don't want to offer a FreeSync monitor.
Yeah.
For political reasons. And I think that's probably the most likely.
They're just politely not calling it a FreeSync monitor.
Yeah.
But it can do
it's not like there's been a standard decided on yet. So it could well be that ASUS is saying, we got crap loads of money. We sell a lot of monitors. Who's to say we can't come up with something that will be compatible, but we don't necessarily have to brand with anything other than our own brand?
I think ASUS would love to have a monitor that works with both.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think the issue is?
I do not, actually.
I think Johnny Shee shot it down because every monitor that ASUS was going to produce with FreeSync actually ended in 87. And
that might be a thing.
99. He just could not announce it. You try to say 487 in an expressive way. Just doesn't work on stage.
487. Yeah, you could do it. I don't think you're giving him enough credit. Also, new information that I got from ASUS at that second visit was that this monitor will be $599.
Yeah.
So it'll be 27-inch, 25 by 14, IPS.
And a couple $100 cheaper.
$200 cheaper than the ROG Swift.
Yeah. So you're getting better glass.
Which is 144 hertz, but TN and G-Sync. So now it almost by default, it's putting pressure on NVIDIA and ASUS itself. Like, hey, why is that ROG Swift $799? If you're saying this monitor is going to be $599
and have better quality
in the next 2 months and be a better quality panel.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have the G-Sync module in it.
And it doesn't go 144.
Support.
But I would give up, dropping to 120.
You would give up the 24 hertz
IPS.
at the top for IPS. Absolutely, you would.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yep.
And apparently they didn't have a finalized minimum refresh on this, but they're saying they guessed 40.
Yeah.
40 to 120.
Probably like 30 or 40.
Yeah.
Generally.
In IPS, it's probably going to be a little bit higher.
Probably.
But so that's
it gets dimmer faster.
That's the drama around this display, and
Or maybe brighter.
maybe next week we'll talk about
dimmer.
it more. Maybe next week we'll talk about it more. All right, on to the next. Wait, did I do that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
On to the next one. That says Corsair, but it's supposed to be Crucial. MX200 BX100.
The show
we have a slight error on our rundown here.
Micron's going to be pissed.
But Crucial launches some new stuff.
So we did talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
We just didn't have like a news post up at the time.
Okay.
But now there's like some pictures and slides to go with it. But basically, just as a quick recap, what is that squeak? Anyway,
That's Ken.
MX200 is like an MX100 kind of paired with an M600. Has that technology working flip dies from SLC
we did talk about this. Yeah,
MLC, right? Which concerns me a little because we weren't too thrilled with the M600 when we tested it. It was kind of like we weren't really sure what speed it was in. We didn't think it knew what speed it was in. So we'll see. I'm guessing
Fantastic.
they optimized the firmware a little bit. But the real star to be, I think, is going to be the BX100, which is kind of sort of the new MX100, if you will.
This guy.
Show
So
that
did they skip over the FX and LX to go directly to BX?
Yeah, they just went straight to the BX. So the cool part of that is it's using Silicon Motion controller, not a Marvell. So the controller's cheaper. Guessing they're still going with the Micron Flash. So you have a cheaper controller.
Good guess.
Micron Flash, right? And that is supposed to give them a launching price, which is actually Ryan has up on the screen there.
$399
$399, Josh.
for 1 terabyte.
Yep, and it scales,
Yeah.
and it still scales down evenly, even to a half a terabyte, and those are MSRP like launch prices. So $200 for half a terabyte.
there would be a lot of thank yous after those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What time frame did they give
And
for
thank
release of
you.
that?
No, thank you.
It sounded like a couple months. Q1.
All right, Q1's acceptable as long as it's
Within,
Q1.
with Q1, yes. Not
I
free
know what
sync.
Q1
Not
is.
free sync Q1.
not free-sync Q1. Hell, not even G-Sync Q1.
Not even G-Sync Q1.
I know-
Crucial Q1, which should be pretty close.
Okay.
All right. So there's that. We also swung by OCZ.
Oh, right.
We didn't talk about that one much. But we saw a new controller from them. There's actually there's a link in the notes. JetExpress. It's a weird name.
No, it's
but
cool.
that's going to be OCZ's next generation controller that's coming. It's kind of going to apply to everything. It seems like they're just going to make it for, it'll start out enterprise and then
What are these things?
trickle down.
Are these batteries?
What things?
These caps?
Yeah, that's an enterprise
Super
grade
caps.
M.2
Okay.
module, and that's a couple of super caps. Super caps. Well, OCZ were the guys that did the super cap thing. Like
First.
Vertex 2 had
okay.
or Vertex 2 Pro or whichever one that was. So this is a 10-channel controller. It's been a while since we heard that, right? Usually everybody does factor of 2 kind of thing, like
Sure.
usually 8 channels or 4 channels, right? 10-channel controller, which the last we heard of one like that was the original Intel controller that was in all the way up to the SSD 320 or whatever, right?
X25.
They start out in the X25M.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
So 10-channel controller is good, right? It's not quite the 18-channel Intel PCI Express NVMe controller, right? But 10 higher than 8, at least, you're able to saturate more flash simultaneously and get higher throughput.
Gotcha.
Like theoretically, right?
Gotcha.
Which is illegal in 7 states.
Yes, exactly. So this controller is supposed to be like a jack of all trades sort of thing. Like they can configure it SATA, they can configure it PCI, right? AHCI over PCI. They can configure it PCI NVMe.
PCIe. I don't
Yes.
want any PCI SSDs.
Just PCI. Sorry.
33 megabytes per second.
Yes.
ISA
133
SSD.
megabytes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So, and when I say PCIe, that also applies to M.2, right? Because
Sure.
M.2 is for the right kind of keying on an M.2 port with a motherboard that supports it. You can have 4 lanes. Right now, everything is like PCIe 2.0, but the physical spec could support PCI Express 3.0.
All right.
It's just a matter of having, the connections made and the chipset support and stuff like that. So they're kind of like going as forward looking as they possibly can with this guy, with this JetExpress controller. And they're showing it.
Shot there.
Yeah, there's a pretty good shot there, and they're pretty. That specific one was pretty long, but that's because they had like 5 chips that were
What I'm saying.
like 2 channels per package that they were talking to there.
Look at
So-
all that cache at the bottom.
Yeah, there's lots of. No, that's actually another. It's another flash package.
This one?
That is not. That's
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
That's memory.
that's the
Mesmery.
memory. I was looking at the.
That's
chip on the
mesmery,
left.
as he says. Yes.
Yeah, mesmery. And then we also saw a little bit further down the Vector 180 in the flesh, even though we don't have a sample yet to test, but it's coming.
Okay.
We know it's coming because, well, they're showing it, right? Not much more to say.
Okay.
But, just basically a newer version of the Vector.
Z Drive 6000.
There was Z Drive 6000 there. That is that SSF 3289, I think is the, 8639.
Close.
Yeah, totally not close. They really need to come up with a name for that connector. But that's basically the
SATA Plus.
it's basically PCI Express over a SATA connector, like SATA power and data connector. Why did Alexa think that I was saying? So SATA connector sounds like Alexa apparently. See? Oh no,
You
I
just said Alexa.
Dang. Just
Bong.
mute that thing.
I'm muting
Good.
her now.
All right,
I'm
she's
silencing her.
muted.
She's
Yeah.
She's
Anyway.
pissed. She's red.
She's going to be mad.
Yeah, she gets angry at you when you there's a little fist shaking.
Touch her.
Yeah.
Just like my wife.
So I mean, we haven't tested one of those yet, but obviously, that's that PMC Sierra controller that they have.
All right. I do feel like we have left her out of the discussion, so I'm gonna include her here. Alexa, how many square feet is the Las Vegas Convention Center?
I can't find the answer to the question I heard.
Alexa, you idiot. What else would she know? Alexa, how many people live in Las Vegas?
The population of Las Vegas, Nevada is about 608,000.
And during CES, about 150,000 more people come into that city. Thanks. See, she's now good hosting so far.
That's smaller than I expected.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how wide the city limits of Las Vegas are.
And
Well,
they
also,
all,
I mean, like they've got Winchester and Paradise all around it.
That's true. Paradise, like we were technically in it at
Yeah.
one point, right?
Yeah.
That's true. You know what I'm saying.
it's true.
I don't know what you're saying.
I mean, I did room with you, Ken, and Alan.
That is like Paradise.
It is
Paradise.
like Paradise.
Sebastian wrote up something as well from CES. The Deepcool, Tristellar, and Pentower Mini-ITX cases with outlandish designs. Jeremy, of these, which one do you prefer?
Well, I mean, I gotta be honest. I kind of like the look of this thing. It's
I do too.
It really looks like you should mount a big cooling fan from an engine on the front of it
And that's the
and just
TriStellar.
let it run.
Isn't that like from Legend of Zelda?
It looks like the
It's not
TriStar.
quite a
That's
TriStar.
Triforce.
Someone else pointed
Or
out it looks
Triforce, yeah,
exactly
sorry.
like a classic Viper from Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah.
which it totally does now that it's been pointed at.
So you can see here how it's built. Like, here's your graphics card part. Here's your power supply. Here's like storage. Here's a water cooler down here. And Mini-ITX motherboard must be behind the video card, kind of in the downside. So it's bigger than maybe it looks up front. Try to remember that that's a USB port and give you some context there.
Now, I think this is going to be as popular as the Thermal Take Level 10 was. It was gorgeous, but it also had the same sort of modular design, but it really never caught on because it was immensely expensive.
Yeah.
Come on, that was from the BMW design group.
Yes, it
What do you
was.
expect?
This one really
And
doesn't look.
BMW is always known for their value pricing.
This one does not
Yes.
look fun to assemble.
No.
Like-
It looks like it's going to have to, like, for this to work, it's going to have like riser like ribbon cables.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're
PCIe
totally
and stuff.
sliding those covers on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to try.
The next one looks like that aborted Apple project.
Well, it wasn't aborted. I mean, they're selling it.
Yeah, they're
Are
selling
they
it.
really?
I was going to say, which aborted Apple
You mean
project?
abortion?
Yeah. The one that looks like a garbage can.
No, they're
Yeah.
selling that.
This is a much larger garbage can
Well, good for them.
because it has actual like it's funny. Like you can see like its shape up here, but if you look inside, it's just like, well, there's a motherboard and then there's a video card, and it's just like a compressed thing, and they just put a wrapper around it, I guess. But it is in a vertical orientation, the Pentower enclosure.
Yep. And I'm guessing that you have to pull this out vertically to mount everything and then try and slide it in.
I guess. I would think that's right.
What are we talking about again?
Cases, Josh. Cases.
Oh,
Cases.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, casings.
Yeah.
Not lambskin, though.
Those are from Deepcool is the brand there. So hopefully we can get a hold of them. Send one of those to Sebastian and say, here, do one of your famous PC builds with this.
Here, Sebastian, use this as a cookie cutter.
And even better, he can roll this one around, too, like the last one.
Yeah, there you go.
Here, why don't you throw your vinyl all around this one and take pictures of it, Sebastian?
He doesn't listen to that. It sounds bad anyway. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Josh, you actually stopped by. Your last meeting was at Samsung. And
It was.
You talked about their monitors and
Monitors,
stuff.
things. You know, that was an amazingly crowded pavilion.
Oh, I bet.
Not as crowded as LG with their massive OLED units, which...
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. But anyway, I went and talked to Samsung. They have they have some interesting products. They have a really nice looking IPS monitor that's in the 21 by 9, 36 by 1440,
3440
resolution,
by 1440.
yeah, and math is hard for me. Mm-hmm. Ratios bad,
Yeah, I know.
bad. But it's IPS and it's curved, and you know we've had this discussion before.
We did.
You know, do you want to have a curved TV in your living room? And everybody that I pretty much talked to is like, no, it seems gimmicky. You've got multiple people watching one TV. So I've got my wife, I've got the freeloader who's, staying with us for 6 months. I've got my 2 children who are kind of like 2 freeloaders who have been here for far, far longer.
And I can't afford
only-
an entire
I'm the only
circle
one-
of monitors to encompass me.
Yeah, and so only one person really gets to enjoy the full view of a curved screen unless your wife is sitting on your lap, which in certain circumstances you really don't want because it could lead to hernias and things like that. But anyway, don't tell her I said that.
She doesn't watch the show, does she?
Thank God.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But when we're talking monitors, it makes more sense. You're one person, you're sitting behind a monitor, and they just kind of curves. And you've got some better peripheral vision going on with focus, easier to focus because you don't have to focus far away, but, it just keeps one area of focus. And so it makes a lot of sense, and it looks nice. And when you put 3 of those together, it have a really, really nice surround-looking environment
Just go to
that
5.
feels pretty natural. Now, if you're a professional and you're trying to draw straight lines, this might not be so good for you. And so if you scroll down,
That's true.
they have really nice professional models. I think the UD 970, it seems like 970 is a pretty popular number around these days. But again, this is, professional IPS 4K monitor. It comes calibrated out of the factory. So it's going to look pretty good. When coming to that, it's got a really nifty, solid stand that you go, obviously, in this picture, you can go portrait mode quite easily.
Nice. Good
And
viewing angles
they're,
still.
they're not too terrible expensive for being a professional style monitor. I think it's about $1,400, has a bunch of inputs and USB 3.0 hub and all those things in the back. So it's actually about the same price as that previous 34-inch 21 by 9.
Curved guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the curved guy.
Now you did check out the rear end of these curved monitors, right? Because the screenshot that you've got of the mounting looks proprietary in the middle of a VESA mount.
No, it's totally Visa compliant. It's 100 by 100.
Okay, so that they do actually have a flat VESA mount on it.
Yeah, I
part
think
is
it's.
flat.
You see what I'm pointing at there? There's a something coming out of the middle of it to the.
No, I think
monitor
what
stand.
it is it's kind of like the Dell ones. You press a button and it unlatches, and that's the sunk-in VESA mount underneath that.
Gotcha.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, I mean, if I think that the side view picture, you can see actually the 3x3 mounts there.
Interesting.
So anyway,
How many are they sending me?
none.
So you failed at this meeting. Is what you're
Well,
telling me.
I think I did.
thought
It's
we
up
were
to you.
sending
You're the
these
editor in
five.
chief. You're
They're
the guy
sending
with
Josh
the email
6, though.
addresses.
Oh, they're sending them all to you, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. So anyway,
Anything
can
in
we
the
go to a different-
ATIV?
the ATIV or whatever you want to call it?
I don't know. AT4.
They had two new models. The ATIV 9. Is that correct?
I don't know.
No, the ATIV 17 curved, which is a 27-inch curved monitor. It's only 1080p, which kind of stinks.
Yeah.
but not horrific. But it's an all-in-one. It uses the latest Broadwell. It has pretty decent specs. It's 8 gigs, 1 terabyte drive. Uses the I think it is an Iris Pro, or is it the 6500?
If it's got an i550, then it's not the Iris Pro. The HD
No,
550.
it's just the HD 6500. I think. Is that correct? Anyway,
All right,
I'm
you
the
can
one
bring
who
up the
saw it.
post.
Why
It's
don't I know?
HD 5500 graphics option.
yes. Good Lord. What day is it? How long have I been away?
It's forever, apparently.
Many moons. So this is a really nice little product. I mean, it's decently priced at what, $12.99. The most interesting thing is the side sync. Is that what it's called? Side sync?
Man, bring up the post, dog.
Side sync 3.0.
Yep.
Basically, you have your Samsung base phone, and you
I don't
install this app, and you've got your phone either plugged in USB or Bluetooth, and you can actually control your phone through your
What's it
computer.
called? Yeah.
So then you can dial people.
Ooh.
You could run programs on the thing. You can even move your mouse cursor over to your cell phone
To the phone.
rummage around. It's just kind of odd. The guy's like, yeah, watch, we can use this as the other screen. And he takes the mouse and it pops up on his little cell phone.
It's kind of
just
cool,
sitting
actually.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you can do some really neat things. It seems pretty solid. You can call from your computer, sharing images, downloading images. It's all pretty seamless. So it would be a nice companion if you could use an all-in-one like this for what they do. They also had the, it's kind of unfortunate because Dell really spoiled us by showing us that 11-inch.
The Dell XPS 13.
Yeah, 13-inch screen and 11-inch body. No bezel, just slick, nice. They showed one like that. It's the
ATIV Book 9.
Book 9.
12.2-inch laptop weighs in at 2.09 pounds.
Yeah, so it's less than the Dell.
It's pretty light.
But it's got very, very similar specs. I do not believe it has a touchscreen, but the one kind of thing that I do like about this is they went back to a 16 by 10 aspect ratio monitor. So it's a 2560 by 1600 unit, and of course that's only stinking 13 inches wide.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an amazing pixel density. I mean, I've got a 30-inch Dell out there that has that same resolution that I do video card testing on.
The only problem I have with this, if the spec is correct, does this one actually have the Core M5Y70?
That's
That's a Broadwell Y, not a Broadwell U part. So if that's the case, it'll be slower than the XPS 13.
okay.
So it's worth noting if that's the case.
And I think that they have a little bit better battery life on this, so it probably would
would
be
make
the
sense.
case.
Yeah. Okay.
But still, an interesting little laptop notebook.
Did we get a
It
weight?
seems like it's what?
Did we get a weight figure on the XPS 13? It's one thing I haven't heard.
Yeah, it's like 2.8 for the touchscreen version.
I held it. It was light enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything is soured after that Lenovo thing. Sorry.
Yeah, the Levy.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on that one, Josh? Or
No, I mean, otherwise, it's nice to see that monitor technology is moving forward. Samsung's one of the guys that were trying to do FreeSync, but I think only one of their monitors is kind of FreeSync compatible yet. They may be changing that up.
yeah,
The future, we'll see.
I think they announced a couple, but I don't know if they had any for show at CES yet. But
Yeah,
Wasn't
just
there
the
one
one
Samsung
that
panel at
AMD had.
Yeah.
the one,
AMD.
yeah, but I think they
They were
announced
supposed to have
2.
3, right?
Maybe it was
Supposed to have
3.
and then a forklift went and
Oh, that's right. Yeah, a forklift broke some FreeSync monitors.
yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, Union, says the Union. And let's go ahead and bring in our new fifth host here, Alexa.
Yep.
How many employees does Samsung have?
I can't find the answer to the question I heard.
Alexa, how do I do a return on Amazon?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question I heard.
I'm beginning to doubt this purchase. I'm sorry, not that we bought you, not that we
well
purchased you. You're not a
spent.
slave. You're a welcome part of the team. Just sit there and be quiet. All right, let's go on to the next story. How about Sebastian loves him some cases.
Yep.
And how about a case that you can build 2 systems in?
Wait, what?
It's been a while since we've seen one of those.
Yo, dog, I hear you like systems.
So we put systems inside of your systems.
Yeah.
So this is the Phanteks Enthoo Mini XL. Enthoo.
Says Cosby.
Yeah. Oof. Super Micro ATX, they call it, which sounds dumb. Super Micro
ATX.
is a
Super
large
Micro
alternative to standard Micro ATX designs that has the advantage of supporting 2 complete systems inside a single case. So there it looks like. It doesn't look that different in that case, right there in that shot. Scroll down a little bit more, and now, oh my lord, what is going on?
Are there 2 PSUs?
Yes, there must be. Maybe there are
You've
other ones
got to,
behind it.
because with 2 boards, you got to
You gotta have
have
2 full ATX connectors.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're SFX.
So there's one
PSUs.
micro ATX or Mini-ITX system right here.
So
The
you got one
Mini-ITX
system?
board is at the top, and then the micro ATX is
It's
here at the
got
bottom.
a
It's got
single
SLR.
670 on one system and a pair of 670s in the other.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. It has dual removable hard drive cages, 2 removable drop and lock. That's a pretty sweet name. Drop and lock SSD brackets. Fully equipped with desk filters, removable top panel for easy fan installation, compartment for fan installation and top panel, clean cable management, mod-friendly structure, uses screws, not rivets. 10
Yes,
color.
which is very important for Maury and people like him.
That's true. 10
Like
color
literally, the
ambient light
entire
controller.
case is put together with screws.
Okay, that's actually we don't see that ever.
No.
No,
Okay. 10 color ambient lighting controller, and then there's what the back of that looks like. So you can see the power supply behind the Mini-ITX, right? And then you've got your micro ATX system down here. Now, I pause it, pricing not available, et cetera, what the hell do you need that for?
The 7 people in the world who would actually utilize such a setup would pay
Well-
nearly anything for it.
I don't know. I could see a couple of uses for it.
Okay, such as?
And one of them was brought up by a reader, which is you've got 2 people, one is a light gamer, one's a heavy gamer, and they don't want to have 2 computers because they can't quite afford it completely, and they don't want to fight over computer time. You could literally be both playing off of this bloody thing. You're already going to be investing in extension cables.
So-
These SFX cables tend to be very short, so you're going to be extending those. Extend the monitors, you're now playing quite happily.
But the only money you saved is just to buy another case?
And you have to buy an
And extra cooling, it's not going to save you a hell
It's
of a
not gonna
lot,
save
but at
much
the same
money,
time,
yeah.
if you're in a little postage stamp apartment in Vancouver, yeah, that's actually going to be worth it because you keep your clothes in the dryer when you're not using it. The other thing I can think of is for modders, because not only can you completely disassemble the case and put it back together with the screws, it gives you a whole hell of a lot of space for a lighting board. So you can now put programmable LEDs and all sorts of insane, crazy, fun lighting with a microcontroller in that second spot.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, that motherboard that had the special connectors because 2 people could run it at the same time?
Oh, who did that?
It was awful, and it sold again like 15 boards worldwide because it just was useless and didn't work. This kind of reminds me of that. I'm sorry. Everybody's frantically Googling for that stinking motherboard.
Oh, I cannot remember what it was called. And the problem is that we still have not seen a price on it. I could see them selling this at a high price. And you know what the best part about the whole thing is? It doesn't actually support the second system unless you buy an adapter for it.
What does the adapter do?
It allows you to mount the second one.
So you need like special bracket or something?
If you want to do two Mini-ITX, because two ITX isn't quite going to fit. I mean, I'm sure there's someone who could manage to squeeze two ITXs, but if you want the Mini-ITX, yeah, it kind of needs a little adapter to fit in there, which is kind of sad in a way. So, what was the name of that board?
So it's a two-system case that doesn't necessarily
Alexa, what was the name of that board?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know.
Well, ask her.
She didn't know I
It was like DFI. Does that ring a bell? It was like a DFI board.
Was it DFI or VIA? I want to say VIA.
No. I mean, it may have run on a VIA chipset, but I think he was either DFI or ECS, maybe.
Could have been Soyo.
Soyo, yes.
Oh, jeez, yeah, maybe.
That was a motherboard company.
Oh yeah,
hell yes.
Everything had a dragon on it. Come on.
They had white PCB motherboard. I think they're maybe the first I saw with like purple accents. It's pretty ballin'. It's probably in my closet somewhere at home. Let's move on. We're going to talk about GTX 960 leaks. They're apparently occurring all over the place.
Got to put more like epoxy on those cards.
Yeah, they got to seal it. The 960 is clearly going to have self-contained water cooling, but on the PCB itself.
Leaks all over the place.
Right, the radiator, the pump, the reservoir, it's all on the PCB, built into a two-slot design.
Sweet.
Those have apparently leaked. So they're returning them, and instead they're apparently building stuff that looks like this, which much less exciting.
Yeah, looks much normal.
Jeremy, Josh, anybody want to comment on this? Because I will abstain.
I thought you were obstinate, not abstaining.
Well, whichever.
Josh,
you got anything, or?
Am I going to have to call Sebastian?
Some people had talked about it, and that it was essentially a one-half of a GTX 980. So it had, 1024 stream units, 32 ROPS, 64 texture units. It's going to be clocked fairly aggressively. It's got a 128-bit memory bus, which isn't a horrible thing because NVIDIA does some nice things with compression and memory management and efficiency. They didn't talk about exactly what price it would be at, but we can expect it $250 or less. 2 gigs of memory. Possibility of 4 in certain models, but we could have to wait for the TI versions to come out with that. So, 960 looks to be a nice mainstream budget enthusiast type video card.
Never heard of it.
What? Never?
Never heard of it.
I like the 3 DisplayPort outputs. At least they're rumoring. The way that it's laid out, 3 DisplayPort, 1 HDMI, and a DVI, that sort of says, hey, maybe you're not a gamer, but maybe you like having a lot of monitors. It's kind of interesting in a way. On the other hand, it's like you say, it's about half a 980. It's not going to be that awesome to game with.
Yeah. I wouldn't get 2 of these in SLI it.
Why not?
Because, I don't know. When you rather, I guess you're only adding up to a 980 potentially.
Well, no, but you want to wait for the TI models because I'm betting NVIDIA's coming out with TI models.
Maybe never again. Maybe they never will.
Oh, that
I don't know.
Could happen, but it would be silly.
Yeah. So there are a lot of rumors out there about these. I mean, whatever. It's probably all right. Who knows? I mean, I do, but it's probably all right. Like, who cares at this point? It's close enough that it doesn't really matter.
Generally, rumors
Right.
like that have been correct.
Like when you start talking about, well, it has this many ROPS, and here's the clock speed, and here's your base and
And
boost
here's the
clock.
actual
It's
benchmark
like,
results.
yeah, they start showing benchmark scores and stuff. So, well, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is.
Way to go. And somebody linked in our chat another post at thevideocards.com that
Of
has
course.
that has the 960 slides. Like they just have the slides.
Oh,
for
the slides.
presentation.
The whole press deck.
So it's super
Yeah.
cool.
It's no longer a leak. They're actually bailing the information out.
Yeah.
They're scooping it out with buckets.
It's a water hose.
Have the info. Have the info.
Drink from the fire hose.
Yeah, I will say like the pictures. I'll comment on these because I haven't seen any of this. Like the pictures of the 960, this KFA2 looks like the 760 cooler,
Yeah.
right? Which I hope it's not, because I hooked up a 760 reference card here recently, and it was reminded of how obnoxiously loud and kind of whiny it was.
Yeah, it does look like a loud
It was.
blower design.
But then you've got like this one, which is like a custom cooler, right?
Yeah.
It's probably significantly quieter. So those are the ones that will probably be coming out. I don't know if that's like a reference design that they may not have any of. I don't really know. But not in the rundown, but I will mention it here, is the LinkedIn post hinting at the Radeon R9 380X, which is a little bit more interesting to discuss because it seems a little bit more further out, a little bit more rumor based.
Yep.
So apparently these are all, there was an ASIC physical design engineer at AMD with more than 18 years of experience, 7 to 8 years of that with AMD, who posted in her background section the line, back-end engineer and team leader at Intel and AMD responsible for taping out state-of-the-art products like Intel Pentium processor with MMX and AMD R9 290X and 380X GPUs, and is later called the largest of the King of the Hill line of products.
Who found this?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's-
apparently I don't spend enough time on LinkedIn because I didn't realize breaking news was coming out.
Start looking for the
Apparently
bios
it
of
does.
everybody from a company. Just,
and maybe more interesting is a detail found on Linglan Zhang's pronunciation page that has since been removed, that stated, developed the world's first 300-watt 2.5D discrete GPU SoC using stacked die high bandwidth memory and silicon interposer.
we can almost learn more from the LinkedIn things than we can from like the press decks. and stuff
Most
these
of the
days.
time. So he says GPU SoC, which would maybe put you towards the idea of APU, but then he says 300 watts.
Yeah.
And you go, well, okay, no, it's not
Well,
an
it's-
APU. Josh, how would you describe a 2.5D lithography?
Well, okay, 2.5D. It's
More
it's
than two?
not a chip that is truly 3D, and they've got the vias in between chips, and it's not like, I've made a chip, I stacked another one on top of it, and we communicate through the vias. No, in fact, they have that interposer. So you've got the chip, and then you've got your memory chip, and then you've got the interposer below that connects them all together, as well as connects it to the PCB.
Huh.
So you've got a much more complex product that won't have as many issues as a true 3D type transistor stack, where you've got a GPU and then memory die on top of it, and everything's connected
Right.
through vias.
So you're
So
saying
this is
they're both side by side on the interposer?
They're going to be side by side on the
Okay.
interposer.
So we've seen
and
something like that with Intel chips, right? Like, there was some,
You know,
at
a
some
couple-
point there was like, you had like the CPU and the GPU like off to the side of it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Briefly.
Well, like that's what Broadwell still is today.
Oh,
You've
okay.
got a CPU die and you've got a
Yeah, two separate dies
but
on
those,
one.
those are all connected via the substrate, and
Right.
not an actual interposer.
Okay.
So an interposer is it's etched silicon, from what I understand.
So
and
it should be
you've got-
significantly faster. Like it's
Hopefully.
I mean that would be the advantage.
It should be more efficient. Should be faster. It's got decoupling stuff in there, so you won't have to have a bunch of resistors and that on the outside.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be a fairly efficient from what it looks like.
Yeah.
High bandwidth.
What do you
and-
make of the fact that if this is true, 300 watts for a 380X, versus 290 watts for a 290X. So AMD would be increasing their TDPs a little bit for a GPU, whereas you look what NVIDIA did with Maxwell, bringing it down significantly from Kepler in that regard.
Well, we've got to look also at the R9 285, which it wasn't a huge jump, but it showed that AMD could, in fact, lower the TDPs, increase the efficiency of these parts. And this is next generation part, so it's going to be bigger, it'll be faster, and it'll probably scale a little bit better in performance than what we see with the 290X at that kind of wattage. The memory, I guess that about 1 gigabyte of space comes out to be about an aspirin of size. So you can think of how many they could put around that chip on the interposer, and it gives you an idea of what kind of memory densities we could potentially get with this kind of product.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. But again, rumors from LinkedIn pages, not confirmed. We'll say.
Obviously.
Not confirmed. And finally, before we get to our picks of the weeks, NZXT, known well for their cases for the most part, is entering the set-top box market with the DOKO.
DOKO?
DOKO. DOKO remote. DOKO remote PC streaming device. So this is you hook your keyboard and mouse up to it in your living room, right? Through USB. And then you attach it to an Ethernet port.
Yep.
Right? And then you attach an HDMI port to your TV.
Okay.
And it basically acts as a remote extension of your PC on your local network.
Yeah, so you've got to have the software running on your main PC. It'll put everything to the needed resolution, probably just 1080p in this case. The bad thing is it runs at 30 frames a second. So you have to do some interesting things games look and run fine, but you don't expect to have a PC or a 60 frames per second type experience. Latency is not bad. It does use USB over IP, which is kind of nifty. So you plug something in that front port, whether it be your keyboard, mouse, or a memory stick, and your computer that's run way far away, that's connected via Ethernet.
So far away.
Yeah, is going to recognize that, and you can stream media off of that and do whatever you want. And it just kind of works. They showed it to us. It's still a little bit new.
They're trying
to get. They are. Mm-hmm. Nice.
I asked today. They said they were going to ship one out. So
it's a cool idea.
Nice.
Sweet.
A little concerned if you're playing back 24p content.
Exactly. That's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because there are certain instances where the guy told me is you've got to turn off one of the little things that they call it VSync, but it's not really VSync. It's just how the frames are composed and then sent to the TV. So when we were playing a 24 frames per second video, he had to turn off the VSync that they call it. Of course, I hate saying that because it's not technically correct, to make it look good.
Yeah.
But he said that certain games and video content, if you do not turn it off that way, the frames just kind of get really funky. And so you get all kinds of strange looking latency and stuttering, and it
really
just is
judder.
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
They need G-Sync on it. Or FreeSync, right?
G-Sync.
FreeSync over IP. Boom, done. I just made AMD $1 million.
Millions.
Actually, it probably didn't.
No.
So do we know what that's going to cost? $99. Starts shipping January 28th. So there you go.
Yeah, it's pretty inexpensive, and I mean it worked pretty well for the implementations that he saw me. I was playing Solid Snake. What's that latest one?
Metal Gear
Solid. I was running around in there with the controller, and it was perfectly fine. Looked nice, ran nice.
All right. Well, we'll test it out. We will poke and prod as we do. So let's get into our hardware software picks of the week.
Oh, gee, I wonder what yours is.
Mine is this lovely lady sitting on the table with us. Alexa, is it cold outside?
Right now in Florence, it's 24 degrees with cloudy skies. Tonight's forecast has cloudy skies moving in and out, and a low of 17 degrees.
She can be replaced by a weather radio.
She could, but could a weather radio let me say, Alexa, add flowers for my wife to my shopping list?
Flowers for my wife added to your shopping list.
I can't understand.
Ask her what year the Hitachi Magic Wand was.
Alexa, what can I do with the dead body?
I can't find the answer to the question I heard.
Alexa, where should I hide this dead body?
Call the
I am
police.
contacting the police.
Oh, I was hoping to just say ask Siri.
That'd be a good one, too.
That would be a good one, too.
Yeah. So this is the Amazon Echo. It's $99 for Prime members, $199 for everybody else. It is, as they say it, information, music, news, weather, and more instantly. Controlled by your voice. Voice recognition hears you from across the room. It actually does very good at voice recognition.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the music playing very loudly, it did very well there. And it's incredibly fast, like way faster than Google Now or Siri or anything like that. It's actually pretty impressive. What's that thing you can say where it starts to like read you your flash, your like, I don't know. I forget what it was, but it like give you like an update to your weather, any like local traffic, and then like the NPR news stories of the day.
I didn't know.
Alexa, what's the news of the day?
Here's your flash briefing.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
Tell me
In
about
NPR News from TuneIn.
NPR. There you go. See, it's
From
nice.
NPR News in Washington, I'm Shay Stevens.
Oh,
She changed her
Her
voice.
balls just
Four
dropped.
top officials. As NPR's Brian Naylor reports, the move follows a string
Alexa,
of
shut up.
security lapses.
See, she listens.
Yeah.
Hey, check your privilege, okay?
So I'm not sure I would recommend it. If you watch the video later, my conclusion is basically like this would be really cool if it were from Google.
Yep.
Because then I can say, hey, when's my next appointment? Or read my last email, or send a text message to Josh that you're fired, right? Things like that, you know, that you can't do
Hey, wait, I
because...
just got a text from you.
Sorry, that was my phone that did it. That was totally an accident. That was supposed to go out after the podcast.
Yeah, it's like it's more refined than other things and like the recognition.
Yeah.
But
It just doesn't have
it's
access-
not integrated with.
It's not access. It doesn't have access to all the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if it were had to like, even if it could use like the Echo app and kind of communicate some fashion that way, so it would kind of know it, but that would slow things down. And you know, Amazon just doesn't have that much information on it, right? So Google Now, the cards that it auto creates for you are based on so much information that it knows about you that this doesn't really have. This kind of really only knows what zip code it's in and what my name is. Alexa, what's my name?
This device has only one profile, Ryan's.
This guy. See,
Sweet.
belongs to me.
You are her only profile.
All right, Jeremy, what do you got?
I got an e-reader that we can watch ourselves on.
Oh no, that's the worst idea.
No.
It's the handy little... Oh, and the link did not post here. It's the Kobo Arc 7 HD. It cost you supposedly about $140. I don't know anyone that's paid more than $110 for it.
All right.
It's 1920 by 1200. It's running Android 4.2.2. It's got a Tegra 4 in it.
Huh.
It's really impressive, and it also reads books. You know,
Does it read them, or can you read them on it?
Yes,
Oh, nice.
you can get the little voice to text thing for it. I can't
Gotcha.
stand that. I'd much rather read the book. I'm very much enjoying it. There's a lot of fun with it. It hooks right up to the Android store with Google. The only problem I have is that I turned it on at the very beginning of the podcast. I've now got 35% of the battery life left. So if you're doing anything but using it in book mode, it sucks the battery down, and they obviously saved a bit of money on the battery because it takes longer to charge than it does to discharge.
Yeah, it can happen. When you get that
We
screen
can
on
all,
and you're
you know,
streaming video
understand
and
that.
it's a Tegra processor, so it's not exactly super efficient.
Yeah.
But for $100,
Yeah.
this is ridiculously great, and I'm sorry you guys can't buy it. It's a Canadian thing.
What?
You're going to have to go to Amazon.
Eh?
It is a Rakuten company.
Yeah, and it's so much more successful than BlackBerry right now, because when they tweet, they use these things, not an iPhone.
No, it's unfortunate for BlackBerry. All right, Josh, what do you
Josh?
got?
Let me change my color. I have this new job. He pointed me in a direction, and I went there because I like having a job and being employed. But he's like, you need to experiment with this free NAS software.
Her name's Alexa.
So I what?
Nothing.
It's free and nasty.
Currently, in Florence, it's 24 degrees with cloudy skies.
Sorry,
Tonight, you can look for
Alexa,
clouds-
shut up. Thank you.
Nice. So anyway, yeah, it's free. It's really good NAS software. It actually does ZFS. It's based on FreeBSD 8 series. They're about ready to upgrade it to the 9 release, so it's going to have even more interesting storage options.
Have they added a GUI for ZFS?
Well, yeah, because you log in.
I mean, to
through
configure
the web
it.
interface,
like to configure and do snapshots and stuff like that. Like, is it a graphical thing?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and so I just grabbed a A85X based board from Gigabyte and put in a Richland processor, 8 gigs of RAM, and attached a bunch of 2 terabyte hard drives to it. And I was up and running within 15 minutes. It was really, really nice. I had a couple of issues with it. Didn't like some USB ports that I put the keyboard on, as well as the flash storage to actually install the TrueNAS software. But there's a lot of different options, a lot of different things you can do. The GUI is really nice. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. You like RAID Z1, RAID Z2. I think they're going to have RAID Z3 here shortly if they don't already support that. So, the problem with ZFS is it does take a lot of CPU resources. So you need a higher-end processor. If you're going to have this on all the time, they recommend that you have ECC SD-RAM installed. Other than that, it's the faster your processor, the more memory you have, the faster the NAS goes. So you combine that with like a four-port Intel Ethernet card, Gigi. You just aggregate those ports, and you've got a pretty quick NAS that you've rolled your own, and you can do some really interesting things for.
Very cool. I like the plugins that it shows. It's got a Plex media server plugin. It's got a BitTorrent sync, BT sync plugin. So you could just use it as your BitTorrent sync. It's got something called Bacula, which I think is hilariously named. That is
Mylar is amusing.
Yeah.
Automated comic book downloader?
No, legitimate uses, Ken.
Yes.
Yeah. Crash plan. All right. Last but not least, maybe least, we'll see. Alan?
So if you want to install Windows 10, right?
Well, okay.
Every time you get a new Windows version, there's some particular drivers that are just really stubborn and just refuse to work.
Yep.
Right. In the case of the ASUS Zonar series cards, ASUS was just really crafty in how they hard-coded that OS detection into their thing, just their installer, because like the driver itself will work, but you just can't install it, right? Well, it turns out there's these other guys that have been, for a while now, putting together like a unified driver for that chipset that's used. I think it's a C Media.
Huh.
Right, Josh? Not C Media on that? On the Zonars? Yeah.
It's the Oxygen HD.
Yeah. So they basically just kind of did a unified driver. It has like that special ASUS control panel thing built in if you're familiar with the Zonar control panel, and like it just kind of like has all those things at its disposal, and it just like makes them work on a different version of the OS than what the ASUS installer is hard coded.
So now it has support for Windows 10. I see it there.
Yeah, and it's like a newer
for Windows
version.
Vista 7, 8, 8.1, and 10.
Yeah, it's like a newer version of the DLLs, right? Like, so where ASUS stopped updating the driver, like these guys continued to update that package, like the different portions of the package with newer versions of the various bits and pieces of the driver, right?
Well, of course, that's how they put their rootkits in.
Yeah, that too. But so if you have a Zonar in your system, that's probably one of the few things that's not going to work with under Windows 10 if you're toying around with it. So you'll need that.
Maxed Tech.
Yep.
IT and Uni Zonar drivers.
Unified.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think it was university. But
University.
Could have been.
Oh, I've been having trouble with my IT job lately. I should download a new driver.
Yeah. I agree.
IT Service Pack 2.
That's gonna wrap up this episode of the PC Perspective Podcast. Back on our semi-regular schedule, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, at pcper.com/podcast or pcper.com/live is where we record the shows on Wednesday nights. And then again, make sure you remember, go to pcper.com/subscribe and fill out that form just for your name and your email. Sign up for that mailing list, because we are going to have another stream later or next week on Thursday that will be prize heavy, giveaway heavy. And you have to be watching the live stream to win. So you'll want to be on this list for sure, so that you will be notified. I'll probably send out an email the day before, so you know what time it is specifically, and then I'll send out an email, an hour, 90 minutes before as well. So everybody is there and is ready to win from some free stuff, learn some cool things, and have fun as we do every once in a while, I guess, on the show. Thanks, everybody, for holding down the fort during CS. Everybody did a good job. Everybody that was at home doing work and stuff. Everybody that was there doing work and stuff. We had our best CES ever in terms of traffic and news posts and videos and all that. Everything was running great. No server downtime during any of that.
While you're away, which usually sucks.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a big plus. So everything went really well. But that's it for this week, guys. We'll see you in about 7 days or so. Bye.